Hey boys and girls, this is lesson 612, number stories with fractions and mixed numbers. In this lesson, you'll add and subtract fractions and mixed numbers with like denominators to solve number stories. Some of this would be quite familiar to you because we've been working on fractions and mixed numbers and number stories all separately, but now we're going to put them all together. So when you get the title and the date written down, you can unpause and come on back. First problem I want to talk about. Liam is choosing between two school backpacks. The black one weighs 1 5/8 pounds. The blue one weighs 2 1/8 pounds. Which one weighs more? How much more? Write a number model with an unknown to represent the problem, then solve it. Okay, so pause this, think about that, do the work in your notebook, and then when you have it done to the best of your ability, come on back. Okay, so we could have solved it in a few different ways. Remembering, we're trying to work our way from 1 5/8 to 2 1/8, right? We're trying to find the difference between them. So there's a variety of ways that we can find the difference. We could have counted up. Addition is often easier for people than subtraction, so we could use addition in our favor if we said to ourselves, okay, I've got 1 5/8, I'm trying to get to 2 1/8. Well, to get from 1 5/8 to 2, I'm just going to add 3/8. 3/8 and 5/8 would equal 8/8, right? So 1 and 8/8 is the same as 2. So then, to get to 2 1/8, I'm just going to add 1/8 more, and that would get me 2 1/8. So I'm using this 3/8 and this 1/8 to tell me that it's 4/8 more, right? So the blue one is 4/8 more. That's what that's showing. Or we could have made our mixed numbers into improper fractions. So to do that, 2 1/8, you know that each one in the 2 is worth 8/8. So 2 of them would be 16/8. Plus that 1/8 gives me 17/8. And then for 1 5/8, we know that the 1 is 8/8 plus the 5/8 gives me 13/8. And if I take 17/8 minus 13/8, I'm again going to get 4/8. So that's another way I could do it. And yet another way, I could just do a straight subtraction problem, borrowing when I need to, because I know when I look at this problem, the 12 1/8, I'm down here now, the 12 1/8, I can't subtract 5/8 from 1/8. So I'd have to borrow. If I borrow that, 2, it leaves me with a 1 right there, right? And the 1/8, adding 8/8 to it gives me 9/8. And then I can do a straight subtraction problem. Oh, I already had written my 1 there. I'm being crazy now, right? So 9/8 minus 5/8 is 4/8. 1 minus 1 is nothing. So again, my answer is 4/8. So, always I could have done it. My number models, 2 1/8 minus 1 5/8 equals, I picked W for weight, but you could pick whatever letter you wanted, or you could look at it as 1 5/8 plus whatever that letter is for the unknown equals 2 1/8. Either of those would be great, something like that, fabulous. You cannot do it the other way around, though. It's not 1 5/8 minus 2 1/8. That's definitely not correct. So make sure you're going in the right direction with your equations. And then your answer is that the blue weighs 4/8 pound more than the black. Make sure that you have the unit here, pounds, right? 4/8 of a pound, more than the black one. Okay, let's try another problem. How about this one? Again, you're going to write a number model and then solve it. So Omar is choosing between two backpacks. The green one weighs 1 6/8 pounds. The gray one weighs 7/8 pounds more than the green one. Keyword here for us. How much does the gray backpack weigh? So I know the weight of one. I know the other one weighs more by this amount. How much does that one, the gray one, then weigh? Try and solve it. After you have it written in your notebook, unpause, come back. All right, again, we have several strategies that we could use to solve this. We could decompose the fractions, so 7/8 is the same as 2/8 plus 5/8, and the reason I chose to decompose it like that is because the other was 1 6/8. Well, I know 6/8 is 2/8 away from a whole number, right? So if I use the 2/8 from decomposing the 7/8 into 2/8 and 5/8, I can add that. That gives me 2/8 plus 1 6/8 is 2 whole, plus the 5/8 that was left over, this one, right? This one becomes here. And it gives me the answer of 2 5/8 as my total. So decomposing the fractions works for that. Another thing, I could decompose the mixed number. So 1 6/8 is the same as 1 plus 5/8 plus 1/8, and the reason I would choose to decompose it this way is because 7/8 is 1/8, right? It's 1/8. It's 1/8 away. So 1/8 plus 7/8 equals 1. Then I have to add the 1 5/8 that I hadn't done anything with yet. Add all that together, I get 2 5/8 again. Or I could replace the mixed number with an equivalent improper, right? Equivalent fraction. So 1 6/8 is 14/8 because 1 is 8/8 plus the 6/8 gives me 14/8 plus 7/8 is 21/8. So any of these three strategies or another one that you have, all are fine. And that gives us this as our number model. 1 6/8 plus 7/8 equals, I said B for backpack, you could choose. And B equals 2 5/8 pounds. Make sure you have your labels. Okay, I think we're good there. Here's what we're going to do now. I just want to point out that I hope you noticed in the backpack problems, the first one we were using subtraction to solve it, the second one we were using addition to solve it. So the problems that we're going to look for you to do on page 220 and 221 in your math journal are going to use both of those operations, and you're again going to be with fractions and mixed numbers to solve them. All right, turn to 220 in your math journal and we will get looking at that. All right, first problem. Shamela's full backpack weighed 10 1/4 pounds. Before leaving school, she added a one-subject notebook. Now her backpack weighs 11 pounds. How much does the one-subject notebook weigh? So, our number model with the unknown. So we're trying to solve, just to get our heads straight, we're trying to solve how much does the one subject notebook weigh? So that's what we're going to be using an unknown letter for, right? So the way I would do this problem is I would say 11 minus 10 1/4 equals, I think I'll do an N for notebook. It's totally your choice, right? The answer to that, I know, is 3/4. And if you know it too, I'm glad. I'm doing this problem, right? 10 and 4/4 minus 10 1/4. The 10 4/4 you know is the same as 11, but I knew I was going to have to subtract the 1/4, so I wouldn't write 11 here. I needed to get some fractions, so I did it like that. When I subtract that, oops, that's a 3/4. That's what I would get, right? So then the next question it's asking me is, does the one subject notebook weigh more or less than 8 ounces? So you're having to do a little conversion here. So I know that 1 pound, well, I guess I can write it out down here. I'm going to say it's more. And I know 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So 1/2 pound equals 8 ounces. 3/4 is greater than 1/2. So it's more. That's how I solved that problem. Okay, so you're going to take a look at the next couple problems in your journal. I want to, before I let you go work on that though, I want to draw your attention to problem number 5. So let's take a look at that one. Problem number 5 says this: a red, a green, and a pink backpack are hanging on hooks in the classroom. The total weight of the 3 backpacks is 32 pounds. The red one weighs 9 3/4 pounds. The green one weighs 1 3/4 pounds more than the red one. Oh boy. Okay. How much does the pink one weigh? So they're telling us a lot of different parts of information there. It looks to me like I'm going to be doing some adding and subtracting. So I want you to really go slowly, think that problem through. I think what I'm going to have you do, because I think these problems are going to take you a little while, I don't really want you to spend all night on math, as you know, so I think I'm going to just pick a few problems for you to do. So here we go. So I want you to do problem number 2. I want you to do problem number 5. And then, if you want, you can do 3, 4, or 6, any of those, or all of those, totally up to you. But make sure before you come to class that you've done 2 and 5, okay? Okay, I hope you have a great night.